The Indiana football team suffered a devastating loss on Saturday against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. We have highlights from their homecoming matchup.
Plus, the weekend that IU basketball fans have been waiting for is finally here. We have last-minute reminders for Hoosier hysteria and more IU basketball news coming up on this episode of Hoosier Sports Night.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Tyler Rath alongside Brandon Farkas. And Brandon, the Hoosiers blew a 25-point lead in their loss to Rutgers on Saturday.
Yeah, it was a disappointing loss for the Hoosiers. They're here for homecoming, looking for their first win of the Big Ten play. Let's take a look at the highlights. Rutgers visited Bloomington for the Hoosiers' homecoming weekend. Both squads looking for their first Big Ten victory of the season. Nate Sudfeld returning from an injury, and you could feel his presence early. But here it was Simi Cobbs Jr. who was impressive on this particular play. Check it out. The sophomore receiver climbing the ladder here to make the grab. Gets the foot down, 1 foot down, check it out there, and that was a first down. Later on the same drive, the senior quarterback dumps it off to true freshman Mike Majette, who takes this one to the end zone, showing his speed, sprints in for his first career touchdown. Hoosiers lead 17-7 early on in the second quarter. Now jumping to the second half where things got a little interesting. Hoosiers down 3 points, but Sudfeld throws a bomb to Ricky Jones Jr. The receiver makes the catch despite some pass interference from the Rutgers defender. Now here you got the Hoosiers extending their lead when Sudfeld finds Jordan Fuchs for his second touchdown of the game. The Scarlet Knights trailing by 18 with 7 minutes left. Now the scoring spree continues for the Cream and Crimson. Divine Redding, known for his physical style of running, but he shows his speed here. 66 yards, he's off to the races after he finds the hole. 25-point lead at this point. Here's when the momentum starts to shift. Chris Laviano heaves the ball up to a covered Leonte Carew. Carew comes down with the ball for his third touchdown of the game. Unfortunately, he doesn't return for Rutgers after suffering that injury. The Knights scored 2 more touchdowns, and now we have ourselves a game. Hoosiers only up 6 points with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Paul James runs 40 yards to score and tie up the game. The extra point was blocked. The visiting team stopped the Hoosiers' offense and put themselves in a position to win the game. Kyle Federico nails the 26-yard field goal, and Rutgers used an incredible rally to shock Indiana in Bloomington for the homecoming matchup. 55-52 was the final. Despite the loss, there were some positive signs from the game, such as the emergence of an unknown true freshman.
The IU football team has found a new playmaker in its offense following last week's game against Rutgers.
Working hard in practice, everybody, our running backs, we take pride in just hitting the hole hard and competing every play, so that builds up in practice, just working hard.
True freshman running back Mike Majette recorded 116 all-purpose yards in just his second collegiate game. He rushed for 83 yards on 11 carries while catching 3 passes for 33 yards and a touchdown. Head coach Kevin Wilson said that he was even surprised by Majette's performance on Saturday.
It was good to see, and I'd like to tell you I thought it was going to happen, didn't know. I mean, he's looked okay in practice, but you don't scrimmage, so it's just nice to see. When you have a freshman and you haven't played a lot, it's kind of sometimes hard to how many times you want to give him the ball, trusting him with the ball. But as we've now played, and you played the #1 team in the country, you played at Penn State, these guys are now playing some games, so nice to see him come through.
Majette showed he has the ability to play as a speedster in the IU backfield and complement the physical running styles of Divine Redding and Jordan Howard.
Mike came in ready. He had, practices, great practices in the past, and he showed coach that he was ready, and they put him to it, and he held his own. It was great.
Majette gave IU fans a small sample of what he can bring to the field with his acceleration and burst of speed last week. And offensive coordinator Kevin Johns said he's looking forward to seeing the freshman's future with the team.
That was great for him to make some plays. He's got a different gear of acceleration and quickness once he gets into the open field. Was a tremendous athlete in high school. He played quarterback, he played DB, he played receiver. Now he's playing a little bit of running back too. So he's got a dynamic second gear about him, some explosiveness, catches the ball well out of the backfield. very impressed with how he played, and we're looking to build upon that.
Quarterback Nate Sudfeld returned to action on Saturday after sitting out last week's loss against Penn State with an ankle injury. Dimitri Bubaris has more on how the senior leader performed in his first game back.
It was a career day for quarterback Nate Sudfeld. 5 combined touchdowns and 464 passing yards, but 2 fourth-quarter interceptions, resulting in 14 points for Rutgers, put a damper on the milestone.
The guys were getting open, protection was good, and then I just made 2 bad decisions at the end. One of them, it was the look we wanted on that post, and that safety came down on the run fake. So I thought it was just one-on-one with the safety on his back and didn't really get all my arm strength into it. I'll never make that mistake again.
8 receivers caught passes against Rutgers, and an ankle injury that kept Sudfeld on the sidelines in Happy Valley didn't seem to hamper his mobility on Saturday.
Throughout the week, I was just feeling more confident in it and everything that I could play. And really, it was Coach Wilson's call. So he was getting more confidence in me, seeing me move.
And as a senior, Sudfeld has drawn national attention, earning one of 15 spots on the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award watch list. But time is winding down on Sudfeld's ultimate goal, playing in the postseason.
He's throwing great balls. I thought he was really in rhythm. Looking at some strong throws. I know some of those hit me pretty good, so I think last week maybe freshened up his arm a little bit because I thought he played really well.
It's clear now more than ever that this is Sudfeld's team. And after a deflating loss like this one, the senior standout will do what he's done so many times before and get the Hoosiers moving forward. But that begins with putting Saturday's loss behind them. In Bloomington, Dimitri Bubaris, Hoosier Sports Night.
Last Thursday, the Indiana men's basketball team was in Chicago for Big Ten Media Day. One of the big topics discussed by the Hoosiers for the upcoming season was finding consistency. Last season, the team did not put together a winning streak beyond 4 games and lost 5 of its final 6 games. Looking to be back at the top of the Big Ten standings this season, Coach Crean said, quote, "It all comes down to consistency. The consistency has got to come through injuries, and it's got to come through some losses, especially in this league. To me, the big characteristics are going to be the mental toughness you've just got to be able to play with," end quote. Echoing his head coach, senior guard Nick Zeisloff stated, quote, "Consistency is one of the toughest things to have, but we have to have it this year. I don't think we always did a good job of that last year, but it's going to change," end quote. In addition, the IU coach talked about the strength of the team's non-conference schedule and how he believes the Big Ten is the best conference in college basketball.
I think that's what we'll see whether we're in Maui, opening up with Wake Forest, whether we go to Duke. We play Creighton before we go to Maui, which will be a wide-open game with the way that they shoot the ball and space the floor. We have Notre Dame later on. I don't remember us having a tougher one in my 8 years on paper. But at the same time, I don't know if the league has been this good from top to bottom in my 8 years, just looking at it. Again, it's on paper. A lot of things have to play out. But the Big Ten is far and away, when you look at the teams coming back, the coaches coaching the teams, the star power of the young guys, the versatility of the teams, and the experience of the teams, this is as good as it's been. I can't imagine there's a better one in the country.
The team will get its first chance to display this newfound consistency a week from Tuesday when the Hoosiers open preseason play against Ottawa.
After suffering a torn meniscus and having surgery in early July this past summer, James Blackman Jr. has returned to practice for the IU basketball team. The sophomore guard hasn't had any setbacks as he prepares for year number 2 in Bloomington. A little more than 3 months since the knee surgery, James Blackman Jr. announced that he's at full go. The guard said, quote, "I'm feeling great. With the injury, it was more of a frustrating thing. I don't think that it hurt my game in any way. When I was out, I watched a lot of film and worked on my shot and my ball handling. I did a lot of stuff. I'm back to 100%, end quote. The Hoosiers will be glad to welcome back the sophomore guard as he averaged 15.7 points and 5.3 rebounds per contest during his freshman year. Blackman is expected to play with the ball in his hand more this season by splitting time with Yogi Ferrell at point guard after mainly playing as a shooting guard last year. A newly renovated Assembly Hall will open its doors to the public for the first time on Saturday evening for Hoosier Hysteria. With construction continuing on the south side entrance, fans are advised to enter Assembly Hall using the north side doors. The event will officially begin at 6:30 with doors opening at 5. Admission and parking is free, but fans are encouraged to bring canned goods to benefit Hoosier Hills Food Bank. Following the scrimmage, the men's team will sign autographs in the Assembly Hall concourse for around an hour. We will be at Hoosier Hysteria and will have plenty of coverage of the official tip-off for IU basketball on our show next week.
After playing number 18 Maryland to a 0-0 tie on Friday, the men's soccer team returned to Jerry Yeagley Field Tuesday to take on the Louisville Cardinals. With the score tied 1-1 in the 48th minute, midfielder Tanner Thompson found the back of the net in what would prove to be the game-winning goal. The victory improved the team's record to 8-4-2 on the season, and the Hoosiers will be back on the pitch on Saturday when Big Ten foe Michigan travels to Jerry Yeagley Field.
The women's soccer team returned to Bloomington to take on two Big Ten foes. On Thursday, the Hoosiers finished with a 1-1 draw against the Maryland Terrapins. Then on Sunday, the team lost in heartbreaking fashion against the Ohio State Buckeyes. After getting down 1-0 early, Jesse Bajuvis scored the equalizer in the 50th minute. However, with just 5 minutes to play, the Buckeyes found the back of the net, giving them a 2-1 victory over the Hoosiers. The loss dropped the team to 3-8-6 on the season. The Hoosiers will now travel to Michigan State on Sunday for their final road Big Ten matchup of the regular season. Be sure to watch the team on Big Ten Network at 3.
The IU field hockey team picked up a pair of shutout victories over the weekend. On Friday, the team snapped a 3-game losing streak, defeating the Ohio State Buckeyes 3-0 on the road. It was the first time in program history that the Hoosiers had held Ohio State scoreless. The Cream and Crimson continued its strong defensive play on Sunday with a 1-0 win at home against Penn State, marking the first time ever that the Hoosiers had shut out Big Ten opponents in back-to-back victories. The impressive weekend for the field hockey team did not go unnoticed. The conference announced on Wednesday that IU junior Kate Barber and freshman Noelle Roeder had each been honored for their performances, as Barber received the Big Ten Co-Offensive Player of the Week award and Roeder earned the Big Ten Freshman of the Week award.
We'll take a quick break, but coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, Sam Lieberman will join us in studio to recap the top Big Ten football games over this past weekend.
And I have a feeling he will definitely talk about that Michigan State ending.
Yeah, there's a chance you'll be seeing that. Stay with us for more.
It's an honor to be here.
After suffering a season-ending injury in late March,
as you can see behind me,
The Indiana women's volleyball team hit the road over the weekend to take on two Big Ten teams ranked inside the top 10 nationally. The first match sent the Hoosiers to Penn State, where the team fell to the number 5 Nittany Lions. Then on Sunday, the team traveled to Columbus to take on number 7 Ohio State. Despite coming up short against the Buckeyes, history was made for the Hoosiers as senior Amelia Anderson became just the 18th player in school history to reach 1,000 career kills. The two losses dropped their record to 12-8 on the season, and the team will return to Bloomington on Friday to host the Illinois Fighting Illini.
The IU men's and women's rugby programs were looking to take a huge step in building a strong reputation this past weekend at home against teams they have been waiting on all season. Sports reporter Jock Rozier was on the pitch this weekend for the big matchups.
The men's rugby team welcomed the Panthers of Davenport for a top 10 battle this past weekend.
The score was the lowest output by the Mudsharks this season, but winning 18-17 over a solid program is a much sweeter victory for the squad. Connor Marsh, who plays flanker, entered the game late in the first half.
First thing going through my mind is hitting that scrum. We got to hit the scrum and we got to just make sure we win the ball, and if we didn't win the ball like we did, I had to go straight to that 10, put as much pressure I can on him, and then hopefully he makes a mistake.
Travis Katona plays the lock position, and on a few key lineouts during the game, he was able to maintain possession for the Mudsharks and steal a few from Davenport.
Really, I have to give a lot of respect to the other forwards that are lifting me up in the air. They're putting me in a great position to make a play on the ball, and just long arms, I guess, to get my hand in there, try and steal it away from their guys.
Alex Dorer, who plays fly half or the fullback position sometimes, scored the late goal that gave Indiana the victory.
We were down 14-3, but something we talked about all day is don't give up, play first minute to 80 minutes. We knew it was going to be a close game. We knew we had the capability of winning. Our coach talked about it. 1 point, 15 points, it's still a win no matter what it is. And I didn't expect it, but it's the way it happened. We got the win, so I'll take it.
The goals for the men's squad are still ahead of them, an undefeated season and bringing home a Big Ten Conference championship.
We expect to win every game. We truly believe we are one of the best teams in the country, and we're going to let our play do the talking for us.
There are 2 more games in the Big Ten Conference, at home against Michigan State on Saturday and at Wisconsin in 2 weeks. The tournament is the second weekend in November. The Indiana women's rugby team was trying to remain undefeated in Big Ten play. This Sunday, standing on the other side of the field, was a Penn State team that has not lost in 4 seasons. Tiffany Wynn, who plays scrum half, says this game is important every year.
Even like the last 3 years that I've been playing, Penn State was always our biggest goal whenever they joined our conference, because they have their national championship titles, and we've been preparing all semester for it.
The Nittany Lions won 60-12 against the Indiana women's rugby team, but Jordan Doyle, who plays inside center, says this was the best game they played as a unit all season.
We kept our intensity up. We made some mistakes, and they were able to take advantage of them. I mean, Penn State was really a goal for us, and so now that's over with. Really, I think it's kind of matching, where we were last year. We lost a lot of girls, so we've been, kind of trying to reload and get back to that place where we were.
The women travel to Columbus, Ohio to take on the Buckeyes this Saturday and will finish the regular season on the road at Purdue on October 31st.
And there will be free pizza for the fans at the men's game on Saturday against Michigan State. Kickoff is at 1 in the afternoon at Evan Williams Field.
And speaking of Michigan State, their football team had quite the dramatic finish against Michigan on Saturday. We now welcome Sam Lieberman to the desk, who has all of your Big Ten highlights.
That's right. Dramatic is right. Michigan had the game in their palms and let it slip away from them in the final seconds. Let's get to that game in a minute, but for now, let's take a look at this week's Big Ten action. Penn State Nittany Lions traveled to Columbus to take on the top-ranked, unbeaten Ohio State. Buckeyes coming out in fresh new all-black unis, and they seem to be working for them as J.T. Barrett dives into the end zone here late in the second quarter. He's proven himself. He wants that starting QB spot back. Early in the third, Penn State welcoming back Deshaun Hamilton from injury as he shows off his athleticism. Full extension to get over the pylon as Hamilton makes it a 2-score ball game. Ensuing possession, J.T. Barrett fakes the QB draw and pulls up for a jump pass as he hits Braxton Miller wide open in the end zone. It is all smiles for Urban Meyer. Ohio State remains undefeated, beating Penn State 38-10. Let's jump over to Minnesota, taking on Nebraska. Been a tough season so far for Tommy Armstrong and Terrell Newby, but Armstrong will find a spark in Minnesota. 3rd and 13, Armstrong looking downfield, gets flushed out of the pocket and on the run, finds Alonzo Moore in the end zone. That's just a big-time throw for the senior. Let's go to the 4th. Armstrong floats it up on a fade route, and you gotta hate that as a corner. Tips the ball, but it comes right back down into the hands of DeMornay Pearson-L. Look at that concentration to bring it in. Nebraska wins 48-25, moves to 3-4 in the year. Mike Riley happy with his Cornhuskers. Let's check out Iowa at Northwestern. The Hawkeyes shocking the Big Ten with their undefeated season thus far. How about Akram Wadley? Goes 36 yards to the house on that carry. Wadley had 35 yards on the ground going into this game, and he puts up 204 and 4 touchdowns on the day as Iowa beats Northwestern 40-10 to stay perfect on the season. The game everyone was talking about, the Battle of the Michigans, head to the Big House. Jim Harbaugh needing to make a statement. Third quarter, Michigan up 10-7, and Sion Homa takes the fullback give and seems to get stuffed by that Spartan defensive line. But Homer refuses to go down, and with an extra push from his teammates, he finds his way across the goal line. This game would be this gritty all day long. Michigan goes up 17-7 with 9 minutes left in the third quarter, and Harbaugh is fired up. Midway through the third, Connor Cook on a 2nd and 8 throws a dime to McGarrett Kings for the touchdown. Cook threw for 328 yards on the day. Let's fast forward here to the fourth quarter. Spartans driving, 1st and goal. LJ Scott takes a handoff up the middle, and Spartans cut the deficit by 2. Michigan State gets the ball back with under 2 minutes. Connor Cook on 4th and long heaves it up, but the ball is swatted down by Michigan defenders. After this, Michigan fans think the game is over and all Michigan really has to do is punt the ball away with 10 seconds, but the snap is fumbled and Jalen Watts Jackson comes up with the football and Michigan can't bring him down as he brings it to the house for a touchdown. The Big House is absolutely stunned, one of the craziest finishes you will ever see in college football, as Michigan State beats Michigan 27-23 in Ann Arbor. And that is all for this week's Big Ten highlights.
Wow, Sam, what a finish in Ann Arbor.
Unbelievable, right?
And that does it for this episode of Hoosier Sports Night. It's going to be a crazy week coming up. Our next show will be packed. We'll have people at Hoosier Hysteria. We will be traveling to East Lansing for the IU football's matchup against Michigan State and more. So be on the lookout on our social media. Follow us at IUSTV Sports on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram page. For Sam Lieberman and Tyler Ratz, I'm Brendan Farkas. Thanks for watching.